Hello Guardians, welcome back to Right Way Gaming. Today I'm bringing you the vendor rolls from the weapon vendors around the tower. So first I'm going to start off with the Crucible Quartermaster, and the first weapon of any decency is the 0-Day Dilemma. Now it's not a perfect roll, but it's got counterbalance, small ball and rodeo. I'm not even paying attention to these two, because with counterbalance and rodeo, this should stop the thing from swaying along with steady hand, meaning that it's going to be nice and easy to handle. Small ball will just be literally an increase to your range and, again, handling. So this makes it a very nice auto rifle to handle. Personally, I'm not going to buy it, but that's because I use either Genesis Chain, Churus Regime or Monte Carlo. I've got Godroll Doctrine and also Hack and Hatchet, so I don't really need it. Next up is the B29 Party Favour. Didn't know whether to include this or not, but I did, because it's half decent. It's not great. It's got a Head Seeker, which is good for pulse rifles, obviously, more damage. Hand-laid stock, so it's going to handle quite nicely, but at a debt to losing some range. And then it's got Secret Round and Partial Refund, which neither of them are great. If I were going to use one, I'd probably use Secret Round, because it adds a fourth shot to a miss burst. It's got Reflex, Quick Draw and OEG. I'd probably use Quick Draw just to increase the reload speed and handling. Next up is the Palindrome. This week, it's another godly roll of a Palindrome. We have Luck in the Chamber. Love that perk. Rifle Barrel. You can't have a hand cannon without it in PvP. You're going to get embarrassed. And Icarus. So, always nice to have a hand cannon, because it basically means that you're not really going to miss your shots like you would do with any other weapon when you're jumping in the air. It also has True Sight, Fast Draw and Quick Draw. True Sight all day long. So I'm not even going to go into the other perks, because with them three perks, it's basically a PvP weapon that you have to buy. And I will be buying it. Like literally right now, if I'm honest. There it is. Bought it. Next up, it's going to be Dead Orbit. So I'll be back with you in a second. And I'm back. So, with Dead Orbit, we have an half decent Extremophile, because it's got Hidden Hand, Small Bore, and Quick Draw. So again, it's not going to handle as great as the 0-Day Dilemma, but it's still going to handle quite nicely, and you're going to probably get a lot more headshots with this one. It has Sure Shot as a better scope than the 0-Day Dilemma, but overall I'd probably buy the 0-Day Dilemma over that. Next up is the Keystone, which is a PvE scout rifle, because it's got Zen Moment, Small Bore, Triple Tap, Quick Draw, High Caliber Rounds. I'd probably use Quick Draw, Triple Tap and Zen Moment there, if I'm honest, because Small Bore is not going to do much for you in PvE, and it's going to reduce your magazine size. As for the scopes, I'd probably use one of the top two, and probably use the Reflex one, just because I think it's easier to use. Next up, we have the Bitter Edge Sniper Rifle, which has a good PvE roll for a sniper, because it's got Hidden Hand, Triple Tap, and Explosive Rounds. So them are the three perks I'd use on that for PvE. PvP, it's not a too bad roll. I'd probably use Quick Draw, Hammer Forge and Hidden Hand for the best aim assist. And then it's got Hawkeye, Ambush and Taxis 15. I'd probably stick with the Hawkeye 15 there, if I'm honest. And then last but not least from Dead Orbit, we have the Unto Dust Rocket Launcher, which has some great perks. It's got tracking, it's got tripod, and it's got a Quick Draw. Or Field Scout. Either one of them is great. But personally, definitely going to want to use them two. Only problem with this rocket launcher is its actual stats here are pretty embarrassing for a rocket launcher, if I'm honest. Obviously, it's got a faster rate of fire than most rocket launchers, but the damage is shite. But yeah, overall, it's an okay rocket launcher to buy. So next up we are on to, well, I'll do the Vanguard Quartermaster just because it's the closest to get to. So we have here, with the Vanguard Quartermaster, we have the Partisan Shot, which has a great roll, and I've seen plenty of great rolls with this. You've got Head Seeker, Perfect Balance, Outlaw, or Feeding Frenzy. Now personally you can use either of them, but I would use Outlaw. And to be honest, them top 3 perks with Sure Shot is going to make this thing deadly. So yeah, that's another great pulse rifle to buy if you haven't already got one. Next up we have the Angel's Advocate. I weren't going to include this, but I thought I would do because it's a decent PvE roll. It's got Third Eye, Braced Frame, and Mulligan. Again, I'd only use them 3. You could use Life Support, but I'd prefer them 3 because it gives you more bullets per magazine and just means that you can kill more ads. Again, with them, you could go with that or that, just depending on what you prefer. Reflex, I'd probably end up using if I'm honest. Then, next up, we have the How Dare You hand cannon, which, again, I weren't going to include, but it's probably a half decent PvP hand cannon. Because it's got Icarus, Rifle Barrel, and Third Eye. Third Eye, yeah, I mean, it's not a great perk, but it's an okay one. Whereas these two are a great perk for a hand cannon, but the problem with this hand cannon is its base range is quite shocking. So yeah, but you know what? If you like collecting hand cannons, pick it up. Personally, I've picked up the Palindrome. Don't need it. Next, we have the Teacup Tempest. This one I'm only including because it's an okay sidearm if you don't have one at the moment. But there definitely is a lot better out there. It's got Feeding Frenzy, Mulligan, Fitted Stock, High Caliber Rounds, and Hot Swap. Them 2 are the okay perks on this. The other ones, Feeding Frenzy is probably okay. Fast Draw is probably the best, or the Quick Draw to go with on that. Then next up we have the 7th Sense Sniper Rifle, which is an even better PvE roll than the Bitter Edge from Dead Orbit, because it has Firefly, Explosive Rounds, and Triple Tap. So all 3 of them are a great PvE sniper perk. Problem is it's not a great impact sniper rifle, but it does have a faster fire rate, so yeah. It also has shot gauge 10. So yeah, if you don't have a decent PvE sniper, pick up that. And then lastly, but not leastly, we have the Bone Crusher, which has Rangefinder, Hand Brace Frame, and Feeding Frenzy. So them top 3 there are going to make this an half decent heavy machine gun, because it's going to have range, it's going to have handling, and it's going to have a quicker reload once you've killed people. Not that you ever get a chance to reload the thing in PvP. Next up we have the Future War Cult. Now these guys only have 3 decent weapons this week. One of them is, well, I'll explain it when we get to them. So the first one is the Whale, which is a PvE roll hand cannon. Let me show you why again. We have Firefly, Hammer Forged or Triple Tap, and Explosive Round with Quick Draw. So all of them are great perks for a hand cannon, but if you want to be using it in PvE, I'd use Firefly, Triple Tap, Explosive Rounds, because you don't need range and you don't need Quick Draw in PvE. Steady Hand, Sure Shot, or Quick Draw. Again, I'd probably go with Sure Shot. Next up is the Waltz Pulse Rifle. Now this thing has a beastly roll for a pulse rifle. It has Glass Half Full, Perfect Balance or Outlaw, High Caliber Rounds, and Quick Draw, with a Quick Draw scope. So I'd go with that, High Caliber Rounds, Perfect Balance, and Glass Half Full. But you could quite easily go for Outlaw, Quick Draw, and Glass Half Full. But again, all them perks are a great perk for a pulse rifle, but like I said, I'd go with the top one because it gives you the best handling, the best damage, and it'll stagger your targets in PvP. Then next up, we have the very last weapon I'm going to cover today, because there is actually none at New Monarchy worth mentioning, and that's the Wounded. It's an okay PvE PvP scout rifle because it has Hidden Hand, Perfect Balance, Unflinching, Quick Draw, and Explosive Rounds. So in PvP, I'd probably go with the Quick Draw, Unflinching, Hidden Hand, because I'm not too bothered about the handling of it. I'm more bothered about how it handles when it gets shot. For PvE, I'd go with the Hidden Hand, Perfect Balance, and Explosive Rounds. As for the scopes, I'll probably go with the red dot or the ranged. But that is it from me today, guys. I'll be back next week with another weapon vendor rolls, and we'll see what it brings to us then. Unfortunately, New Monica did have nothing for us to cover because I didn't like any of them whatsoever. Don't mean you won't, but to be honest, I'm going to say don't waste your time. The two weapons I recommend picking up this week are Palindrome and the Waltz. That's my opinion, and that's me out. See you next time, guys.